There have been rumblings lately about the economy stalling, perhaps even, dare we even say it, a double dip recession. Causes being slower job growth, also information on the housing price index, which recently was released, and the numbers were not good. Here to talk about how things are looking on Hilton Head Island and around Beaufort County, James Wedgeworth. Great to see you, James.
It's always good to be here.
Well, let me ask you first about the housing price index. When we take a look at where it stands in comparison to other reports, how do things look?
Well, I think you're actually, Allie, referring to a report that just came out that said that the housing price index was at '02 levels. Now, if you translate in that discrete talk, what that really means is homes in America are selling today for what they sold for in '02, or in some cases less than what they sold for in '02. So what that means is that run up in prices we had in '03, '04, '05, '06, and '07 has now all disappeared, and we're selling houses today for what the same house would have sold for in '02 nationwide. And actually on Hilton Head, because the number of second homes is probably even back a little further than that. Not good news for sellers, great news for buyers.
Yeah, I would think a buyer would be mighty happy, and from what you told us before we started taping, there's movement in the market, at least from your perspective.
I've been involved in the sale of 25 homes in the last 30 days, so we're doing everything we can to prevent a double dip, as you say, recession. I've been telling everybody I'm not going to participate. I'm just going to work right through it.
Well, good. We're glad to hear that you're bound and determined not to participate in that. But let's talk about the whole psychological impact of what's going on. First of all, with real estate and the equity in someone's home. If I've had my home for a while and I hear you say, hey, you know what, it would be valued or sold at prices back in '02 versus, when times were good here on Hilton Head Island, that has to have some sort of an impact on how I'm feeling about the economy or whether I'm going to go out and spend money, doesn't it?
We actually call that consumer confidence. It's funny you mentioned that. My son works in New York City, and he had a flight out of Savannah this morning. I took him to the airport early. Coming back, I was listening to Stuart Varney, and he was talking about how what he thought one of the biggest problems has been housing. Obviously, everybody talks about the foreclosure, and we'll talk about that more later. But what Stuart was saying really made sense. He said, what he says is, he said if prices are down 30%, that means all those people that haven't lost their house to foreclosure, Allie, you and I, we haven't lost our house, but we've lost 30% the value of our home. And what Stuart was saying is, so many people, the largest asset they have is the equity in their home. So if you decrease the equity in their home by 30%, they got less spending power. They don't feel as good about the economy. They're scared. They don't go out and buy boats and refrigerators and, new baseball gloves or whatever. They kind of hold back, which hurts the economy. And I think Stuart's right. That is the most important, but that's never talked about. All we talk about is the foreclosures and poor people losing their houses. I'm worried about those poor people that don't have a mortgage, but their $1 million house is now worth $700,000. So in essence, they've lost $300,000 in equity they could have spent on something else to stimulate the economy.
Well, when we look at the possibility of the economy stalling or a double dip recession, isn't the housing market or what's happening in real estate, can't that be a major factor in what we see happening with
it
the
is
economy?
A major factor. I actually wish our elected officials understood that a little better, but housing prices drive so many things. Unemployment drives things, but housing prices drive it too, especially from the viewpoint I talked about, what I call consumer confidence.
Now, we had a moratorium or a state Supreme Court judge in South Carolina say, hey, no foreclosures moving forward unless they look copacetic. Everything that can be done has been done before that foreclosure occurs. Have you seen a ripple effect? It was a 90-day order. Have you seen a ripple effect from that judge's actions?
Well, actually, we had a foreclosure auction today in Beaufort, and it was the smallest number of properties that foreclosed on, and I don't know how long, probably at least 3, maybe 3.5 years. So obviously, and it basically applies to single-family homes, but my understanding of it, and I haven't read the law, I've talked to several attorneys about it, but it's my understanding is the banks had to prove that they had done everything they could to work something out with the homeowner. Well, if the homeowner won't cooperate with you and you don't have correspondence and letters from them, then you're unable to prove that you tried to work something out, even though you have. So we had a lot of these homes that are not in foreclosure, but actually, I'll be real honest with you, that's just forestalling them a little, and they'll be here in 90 days.
Say, well, and then what happens all of a sudden? Are we going to have a flooded inventory because those have been held back and boom,
Unfortunately, yes, we have, and as we've talked about this on this program in the past, an increase in foreclosures has a detrimental effect on property values for the people trying to sell.
Well, can you tell us something that might cheer us up? Because, you know, a lot of this, I think, you know, once the media grabs a hold of, you know, the possibilities of, gee, could there be an economic slowdown or double dip recession, or, you know, Wall Street has been not doing well as of late. It can really create an environment where what you think will be becomes what happens. Can you give us any good news?
Well, a good friend of mine once said very truthfully, he said, what came first, the talk of house prices dropping or house prices dropping? Obviously, the talk drives it. It's good news for buyers. I said, so I've been blessed. I have tons of buyers that I'm working with now that are seeing now's a good time to buy. And I always tell people the amenities of Hilton Head have not changed. We still got the beach, we still got the golf, we still got the tennis, we got beautiful trees, great weather. All the reasons that you would normally buy on Hilton Head are still there. So from a buyer's point of view, it's a great time to buy. And I've always believed, Allie, that it seems like to me, I've been doing this 30 years, that when the clouds are darkest is the time to buy. It always gets better. So that's why I'm telling people, buy now.
All right, James Wedgeworth, as always, it's great to have you here on the Lowcountry Report, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.